Hey, good afternoon. This is Solutions Part 2. On this part of the video, what we're going to do is we're going to create a flow, and then within the flow, we're going to look for events where certificates are about to expire. We're going to run that on a schedule, right? And then it's going to look through the tables, right? And then we're going to take the sys IDs of those events that are found, and we're going to add them to a variable within the flow. Then that um, variable is going to be used to pass the uh, all the sys IDs into the action, so it could go through and it can actually go through the event, create a CSV file, and then attach to the incident. And to make this a little bit more exciting, what we're going to do is we're going to create, if events are found, we're going to create the incident record. And then we're going to use the events to update that incident record, and then use the action to add an attachment to that ticket, right? So it basically, the flow will dynamically find those events and automates the attachment of the data onto the incident ticket. So see you in the next section. Thank you. Hey, hello again. This is JVSightSolutions. So today, what we're going to do today is we're going to create a flow, and then we're going to use that action that we created earlier. So let me just call this just call it part one. Oh, sorry about that. Processing events and create incident record, right? So we're going to go look at the events, and then we're going to use those records to create an incident record. We're going to use our action that we created earlier, and we're going to process those events and attach it to the incident record that that we are creating, as long as the records are found, right? So we're going to run this on a trigger on a schedule. So we're going to run in a schedule. We're going to run this daily, and it's going to run at 9 o'clock in the morning. But now we're going to look up for records, right? So record lookup. Not lookup records, right? So and we're looking at the event table. That's the same table we're from our action, right? And we're going to look for events that it says we're looking at the description, contains let me see, certificate is about to expire. Just done. Let me save this, and we're just gonna test it out just to see if we find anything. Just make sure. Let me see. It found 6 records, right? And here they are. You see all the records that it found, right? So let me go back to the flow. So what we're gonna say is that if records are found, uh, we want you to create an incident record. So that's what we're gonna do, right? So we're gonna go if, and you say lookup records, and you look at the count on the integer. We're gonna say if this is greater than 0, right? That means that he found a record. Then let's go and create an incident record, right? So from here, I'm gonna say create record. This is gonna be an incident ticket, right? So we do that from the incident table. And then we can just say whatever we want here. Short description. We can just say certificates are about to expired, and we could do the same for the actual description, right? Certificates are about to expire. Do that. We could update the ticket with event information later. But we're just gonna get. I just want to get the record in place before we do anything else, right? Let me see. Maybe severity, priority. We'll make this a high. This is really high. And then done, right? So what we're gonna do is that. So we're gonna take all of the sys IDs of the records that were found in this search right here, and we're going to add that to a variable, right? So I'm going to set a variable here, flow variables. We're going to call this one event underscore records. This, it doesn't matter what the name is here. It just identification had nothing to do with our, you know, our goal of targeting our flow, right? So just remember. But what I did here is that I'm creating a variable so I could add items to it as I go along. So what I'm going to do is that for each record that was found, I'm going to loop through them, and I'm going to extract the sys ID, and I'm going to apply that to the to a variable, and we're going to do like a quick script here. Again, there's probably better ways to do this. I said I'm not an expert, but you know, try my best here. So what we're looking is for each item in the lookup records, right? Any item there, this is what we're going to do, right? We're going to set set the variable. You know, we only have one, so we don't have to worry about that one. We select the event records, and let me open this so you can see a little bit of scripting here. Let me just update this here and say this just show you how to use this part of it, but get the sys ID to send to the action we created earlier. And the reason I'm doing this is, remember, our input that we expect is a comma separated string of items that we're going to then turn into then the action takes into an array, right? So that's what we're doing here. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get out of here. We're going to declare the a variable that's using, this is used within this execution, right? So record, and then to access the data from the flow, you use fd underscore data, and then that, and we're looking at every step is available, right? So we're not, you know, we don't need the trigger. What we're looking at is the variable, right? So flow bar, and then the name of that variable is event records, right? So I'm just getting the value of that, and I'm bringing that over. And then I'm just what I'm going to do is declare records, because this is where I'm starting adding them to it, right? So the first record is going to be the first one. After it loops, it's going to have a record in there. So not on the first, but it's empty now. But when he loops, it's going to add the sys ID from that for each item in the step 4, right? So if data, so we're looking at for each item, right? Step 4 right here. We're gonna do that, and then we say item that, and this is where we could access those variables from the table. Like anything that's on this table here on the event records, it's available now through here. So all I need is the sys ID, which is right here. And remember that our variable needs a comma, right? So to separate each item in it. So every time it loops through it, it's going to add the record on the item that he finds. It's gonna add it to the record, and then it's going to add that comma and kind of loop through it, right? So, and then we go return, and then this is how this works, right? You got to return an item, so it assigns it to it. That's kind of like the instruction that it was giving you here that I deleted, but you return your variable, right? So I'm gonna hit saved here, and I could save it. I'm gonna save it so you guys can see. You know, I'm not gonna run a test because it's gonna create an incident record. So the next thing that we're gonna do is now we're gonna update the incident record, right? Because that means that an incident record was created. So we're gonna update the incident record, and remember, it's looping through each of those items. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add to the incident record, so update record, and what we're going to add there is that my record that I'm looking at is the one I created, right? If one get created, and then you could go to your fields, and let's say the work notes, and we're going to say we're going to add the node and the event description for it, for each, and it's every time it loops through it, for each item that it finds, it's going to update that incident record with the information that I'm about to put in here, right? So I said node, and then I go here, I go to for each record, right? And this is a good way to do this without having to code. That's why I like Flow Designer. you can actually have access to all the data that's available there. So here's the data there for the node, and then yeah, hit that, and now I hit enter, so it's going to go to a new line. And I'm just going to add the description of it, and that description is going to be the same deal, right? For each item, obviously it's the same item because it's looping through it, and then we go get the description, right? And we update that, right? So now every item that it finds is going to create it's only create one incident record, right? Because if it's greater than 1, then 0, it creates a ticket, and then you're going to loop through each of the items that it found, and it's going to update the variable, and then it's going to update the incident record with each of those items that it found there. And the only reason why I'm doing this is so you guys could see how it loops through it and it updates the incident record, and you're going to see an update node on each of those. So you should be able to see that. Let's do a if then statement here, in here, right after it's done looping. We stay within this area here, right? If he found record. So what we're going to say is that if a record was actually created, right? So we go if, and then that's step 3, the record created. So you can look at certain things here, right? So the status, right? So if the code is 0, it's a successful execution, right? Like it found records, and then it worked, right? So what I'm going to do is that if that is the case, right, then let's find that action. I think we called it part 1 global part 1 processing events. I think that's the name of it, right? And here's remember the 2 input variables that I declare. Look, they're available to the flow. So what we're going to do here is going to take the variable, right, because we added on step 5, we added those values to that, right? That's where it looped through it and added that in there. And then the sys ID is going to be the incident record that was created. So you go forward, and because it expects a string, I like to go to that field, so it sends it over, right? So what I'm going to do here is that on the incident record, you go one more, and then it should find the sys ID, and there it is, right? And we just save this, and I'm going to save this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to test it out. Hopefully it works, right? So, but it should find, remember, it should find the 6 events, and then it should loop through those events and update the data. So let's see what that looks like. And then the action that we created earlier should take all that input and do what it does, right? Which is, remember, it's going to create a CSV file, and it's going to update the incident ticket with that as an attachment, right? So let me look at the steps here. Look, there was an error here. It says records is not defined on the variable. So let's take a look at that, right? So it found records, it created an incident. Let me go back to this. Let me see what's going on the variable. Let's see. Oh, you see, there's a typo there. Sorry about that. Records, it should match this right here. Okay, and then this one right here, and then this. Let me save this. Test it out. Let's run through it. And this is why I like Flow Designer, right? Like the errors are pretty clear for troubleshooting. You shouldn't experience any issues with this. So now it's true, right? It completed. So let's go through this. It looked up the records, right? It found 6 records. Here they are. On the next line, it said, hey, if the count is greater than 0, which is 6, right? Go and create an incident ticket for me. Here's the ticket. I'm just going to click. We're going to go there later. And then it says, for each item that you found, which is 1 through 6, one issue I have with Flow Designer is that it will only show you the first interaction and the last one. Anything that happens in between, there's an error, anything like that, you're not going to see it. So that's the only issue with it. But for each of this, right, it went through it, and here's the first record, right? And then if you go to 6, you can see how it was adding the records and adding the comma to separate each of these items, right? So that's what we did there. And then we updated the record, right? And we say, hey, on the work notes, I want you to add the node information. I want you to add the description, and he did that in there. So, and you do that, and then when you look at the action, this is what I was talking about. using the JSON formatted list, because it will give me the list of items that I found, right? So here they are, and then here's the actual attachment sysID that was created. Let me go so you can take a look at the ticket. So here's the incident ticket. So remember, right? We created an incident record, and then we looped through and we did a work node for each node in description that I found. So I found 6. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You see that? And then look, here's your attachment for your ticket. I'm only recording the window. So, but oh, it came up for me, but you don't see it. And then you see the CSV record file there with the created node and the description of it. I'll bring that over so you guys could see it as well. But yeah, I just want to show you that, right? It created, here's the incident that it created. Obviously we made it the we only put the short description without anything to it, but I just want to show how you could take Flow Designer, do a couple things with it. You could go back, cancel this so you can see it. So this is what it looks like. I'm going to activate it so it could be used. Remember, if it's an action, you have to publish it. If it's a flow, you need to activate it. Now this will run daily. Obviously, in the real world, you want to make sure that the first thing that if something like this, you want to make sure that there's no ticket that's already open, right? And then if you do find a ticket that's open, what you might want to do is update that ticket with the new information, right? You could rerun. The beauty of the action also is that you could rerun your action to add, create another attachment with new records, right? If you're doing this daily or whatever, you could attach that to the target. So, well, again, thank you for your time. I hope this is helpful and you guys could use it and make some money out there supporting ServiceNow.